We're here with 3 powerhouses in the lean sector.
Some people saved money, made more profit. Recently, we've had a company who saved 8 weeks of production time.
We need to put them in the best position to survive, be flexible, be productive, be agile.
There's no substitute for direct observation. To see the turnaround of his company is just mind-blowing.
Tools and technique, that's the easy bit. It's getting your leaders engaged, motivated, and being able to sustain it. That's the real challenge.
Hello, it's Ryan Tierney from Lean Made Simple, and I'm really excited about this podcast that we're just about to do. We're here with 3 powerhouses in the lean sector, 3 massive influencers, and 3 people who are really passionate, I suppose, about spreading the message of lean. We're going to start off. Do you want to introduce yourself, Robbie?
Yeah, hi lads. Robert Hernan. I'm with Enterprise Ireland in the Republic of Ireland. We're a state agency that's we look after Indigenous Irish companies that export and sell abroad. I work in the client solutions division, the client operations team, particularly around the lean side. So we support our companies in deploying lean, trying to support them to be more productive, ultimately more competitive. And really then what hopefully that'll do is increase their sales abroad and increase their employment figures at home. So we just see better businesses is better for our communities, and that's our remit as a state agency.
Brilliant. Thank you, Robbie. Great. Phil?
Hi, I'm Phil Catherwood, work for the Welsh Government. I work in a department in business and regions called High Value Manufacturing. Although I'm not limited to manufacturing, as we're finding out now with our Toyota support, we're getting involved supporting Welsh Blood Service and the NHS. So I've been working in the Welsh Government for quite a few years now. Our business offering is going to sound a little bit like Rob's. But we really do have some fantastic companies in Wales, including Toyota, up in Deeside. It's one of the jewels in the crown. And one of the big things I'm looking to do is see if we can use our magnet companies, the anchor companies, who've got best practice, and looking at how we can diffuse that best practice across Wales.
That's incredible.
Really
Thank you.
Yeah.
And John, obviously I know yourself very well, and you're doing big things in Northern Ireland to spread the message of lean.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm not so sure this is as big as what you're doing, but anyway. So John McClune, I head up the Operational Excellence team in Invest Northern Ireland, and similar to Phil and Robbie here, we're the regional economic development agency for Northern Ireland, charged with trying to grow the local economy. And one of the key aspects of that is trying to make companies, our Indigenous companies and inward investment companies, more productive. And one of the key aspects of that is in around lean thinking. So, we've had a lean focus probably for the last 12 years. So there's a lot of stuff we've been trying to do to build up that awareness and capability and desire to do something. And I think we're starting to see the fruits of that.
So Robert, really good to me. I met you maybe 2 years ago. I've got a little bit of a story to tell about Robert, because you're really quite competitive. Got kids of a young age who still do sports. I remember you telling me when I was over. But Robert was really competitive. So we know when we do the 2-day course, so you brought a team over. You probably remember or probably won't. But Robert was responsible for bringing some people over from Enterprise Ireland. And one of the things that we do, we have a little bit of a game to break the ice. We put a paragraph on the board and we ask the people to count how many E's are in this paragraph. In 40 seconds, you would have seen it, right?
Yeah.
So we get them up there, and I'm going through training at this stage, so I'd only seen it a couple of times. So anyway, 40 seconds goes, everyone writes down the number, and they go around the room, everyone gets it wrong, gets to Robert, bang on, gets the answer. I'm not going to give the answer, but gets the answer. So I said to my colleague, I said, Cyril, this is that lad there, he got it bang on. How did he do that? He said it's his 3rd time here. He's bound to get it right. Anyway, we told the room that. I said, "Oh, Robert, you made a bit of a joke about it, didn't we?"
The little bit of continuous improvement to do in Toyota, so the next time I went after that, it says, "Yeah, Robert, we've changed this, so it's not the same one." So there's a new answer to it. So
it was good. Yeah, it was good.
I enjoyed that competition.
Good way of making it nice. So yeah, one of the first groups I interacted with was Enterprise Ireland. Really impressed. You want to tell me a little bit more about what the bit of the history behind Enterprise Ireland and how we kind of got into lean?
So yeah, we've been we've strongly believe, for our good Irish companies, that they need to be very productive and competitive, and that lean is just critical to that. It's a foundation stone for good businesses. the genesis of it, like, in our organization would have been my former boss, Richard Keegan, who's been long associated with the TLMNC and with the Welsh Government as well. So he did a PhD in the 90s, I think it was, on looking at production, lean, and benchmarking in Irish companies and in Japan. So the power of benchmarking, and he introduced lean on a pilot scale in a small regional development agency called Údarás na Gaeltachta there, for part of his PhD. But then in Enterprise Ireland, he recognised that, like, it was around the time of the financial crash, 2007, 2008, when it was existential issue for a lot of Irish companies, and that we need to put them in the best position to be able to be survive, be flexible, be productive, be agile, and that lean would help them a long way in this. So he introduced what we have is a lean business offer, which is to support our companies to engage with lean and to deploy lean into their organizations. And we have a tiered approach that Richard would have developed, like, that we're not going to try and eat the whole elephant in one go. We're going to go start in steps, like, so we've an introductory element to lean, and this will be with your, what we call a lean start, short-term engagement, introduce the ideas of lean, get a quick win, your exemplar site, kind of go, look at this is what lean can do. Like, it's really powerful, like, and then having done that we will build up then to a longer engagement to look at some more improvement projects. So that could be looking at your lead times, looking at some quality issues, some layouts, whatever might be in the business, and to bed in, and then to also concurrently to build up capability internally, to build up the idea of, like, your lean champions. We need the different champions around the place that are going to support this development. It's your kind of leadership team that you want. So, and then ultimately we want to get to a lean transformation when we want the whole organization, a cultural transformation, a lean thinking, problem solving organization in it. So that was our kind of our lean business offer. And we would have slightly differently to Invest Northern Ireland at the moment, but we would particularly, we want to get out to as many companies as we can, and there's over 4,000 companies in Enterprise Ireland. So we think, like, we need a revolution across all of them. We can't do it ourselves as a team, so we engage with the wider resource that is the lean consultant community in Ireland. And there's a lot of good capability there that had experience within lean from companies working themselves, like Dell. There would have been a lot of ex-Dell people that had done really good lean work, and a lot of good capability around it. So we engage, the companies will engage with a lean consultant, and we will support them on the financial cost of that engagement. So that's kind of our model of rolling out lean for the last. So that's been in go now since 2010 as an official offer. So that's 15 years, all right, and a bit of piloting before that. So yeah, a lot of stuff.
Brilliant. So Phil, when I think about lean on wheels, I just think rototherm. That's the first name that comes to my head.
Yes.
I was in Rototherm last week for a lean tour. They're an incredible lean organization, and I know you work closely with them. What's the benefit of having an example company like that? Why is that important to have that exemplar in Wales?
Well, I think there's no substitute for direct observation. So I mentioned before, I see Toyota as the jewel in the crown in North Wales, but it's a trek up about 3.5, 4 hours if you're in South Wales. And so I was talking to colleagues about, wouldn't it be great if Toyota had an operation in South Wales? And then someone put me on to Oliver Conger and Rototherm, and that was, gosh, I think about 4 or 5 years ago when we started talking initially. And to see the turnaround of his company is just mind-blowing.
Yes.
And funny you mention Rototherm, because we're going to be back there again for another South Wales network on next month.
Really?
But in between that, every time I look on LinkedIn, I see another company have been there. He opens his doors to so many
really
businesses.
important,
He's just really into the concept of trying to build the lean momentum across Wales. And he's just fantastic. From a Welsh Government point of view, I can't believe my luck that I've actually met him, and he's doing so much good work across Wales for other companies.
I think you come on to a really good point. I think it's a perfect example, Rototherm. And you use an example of, we used off camera almost the term lean influencers. And that's not influencers, because you talk about generally social influencers, they're kind of just all of a front. But actually, these influencers such as yourself and Paul Nolan and Oliver Conger, you can go to these factories and see it in practice, not just through words. You know, like you say, you look on LinkedIn, Lion Laboratories, who kind of we work with in the past. They visited there the other week, and I think it's really good that you've got places like that, like here, to be able to come and look what good looks like. I think that's really important, don't you?
It is. Absolutely is. Yeah.
I think we can talk about it all the time and tell them, oh, Lean is great, and there's lots of books out there, and there's lots of information, and there's research done on it as well. But the power of going to a site, so either internally the exemplar site, but particularly going off site and seeing like, and at any stage of your journey, like, so we'd be bringing companies over to Toyota here, like, so whether you're just starting off and you want to get them, we want that, or they go to Seating Matters or Adman Shed. They see and go, we want that. Or they're on their journey and kind of go, it helps them reflect and think about, I can bring back new knowledge and stuff. So site visits, very important, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do believe that, I really do believe it. But we were doing site visits with Toyota from 2012 when we first came across the Toyota Lean Management Centre in Deeside. And for 6 years we were running programs, and we got a whole cabinet full of happy sheets. Everyone thought it was great to go there, but actually not a lot was happening when people went back. So it was only really when I got to know Richard Keegan, who you mentioned, or Professor Richard Keegan, as Mrs. Keegan likes him to be known. It was only through Richard's engagement with the programme and him actually telling me a few home truths, because we think of him as being the godfather of lean diffusion. And he actually said companies have got to have more than just a couple of days at Toyota. They've got to have the ongoing engagement. And that's what really has made the big difference in what we're doing now.
And John, last but not least, I had the pleasure in attending your Power and Productivity Conference. One thing that really impressed me was, we saw around there some really good guest speakers, but I've been to the South a couple of times for some events. It was my first time in the North. There's just as much passion, if not more, in the North as well, and a thirst for it. And again, the final point, off camera, we've been talking about the kind of crossover between North and South and how the businesses are going down and people are kind of coming up to see. What's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's momentum and a growing lean community in North and South. I suppose that the good thing is you're nowhere more than an hour's drive away from, if you want to go and see a good practice, be that some of the companies south of Dublin, be it up into Seat Matters, Leanavati. And again, I suppose we've been quite fortunate that we have a number of quite good practice companies, large, small, for-profit, not-for-profit, food, manufacturing, engineering, so we're starting to get a real growing community. And I suppose one of the key things is Lean, well, let's go see, that's what we tell our people. And there's no substitute for going seeing. You're looking for ideas and how to do things simply, differently. Go and see. You'll learn from others. And that's part of the benefit as well of going and hosting these site tours as well, because you get feedback. You're getting fresh eyes coming in all the time and asking those very difficult questions like, why do you do this? Why is that like that? Because that then starts that whole sort of continuous improvement ethos as well. But absolutely, it's there is a growing community, and we're not that different, Robert. Sure, we're not.
And the engagement has been there for many years. Richard would have been involved with, I
would have had a good working relationship with Richard, and we would have taken sort of groups of companies north and south over to Deeside and some of the early days. We were sharing. And
I think it's been noted as well. I think the Lean community are great. I think there's a generosity, a spirit about them. There's nothing proprietary around it. Clean up your place, support your people, standardize. There's nothing magic about it, but it's just, the powers in actually have to go and do that. But the community are very good at sharing, and if we can support and enable that anyway, it's great. Helps get the word out. So that's great.
So last week, John, we had the Lean Cluster NIE first launch event, and it was an absolute success. I think we were expecting 100 people, and 170 ended up turning up on the day.
But I suppose the impressive thing, Ryan, was for those of you who don't know Northern Ireland, Cookstown, it's sort of, if you look at the map, it's sort of top left-hand side, and you have 7:30 start. So there's a lot of company, 170 people starting out early for a 8:30 meeting on this thing called Lean And you're sitting going, well, what's that about? You know, but there was a real buzz, a real energy. Quite a few companies had travelled up from Ireland as well. You know, so it's
So what is the benefit of a cluster? Why is a cluster different? You know, it's a different concept than a lean tour or a site visit. Well, what's the benefit of a cluster, John?
a cluster and a network is where you get like-minded people, as I see it, coming together and they're sharing. And whenever they're sharing, they're learning, and then you can get them to collaborate. I mean, some of the feedback we were getting, it was all the companies, some of the stuff that they were asking to do. They were flagging up, we're having difficulty getting leaders engaged. Well, here you go. Here's other companies that might have started out on that journey. Here's our journey. When we had the round table, some of the examples coming out of that where people are really opening up, sharing. We all have difficult journeys. The way you learn and improve is by going and doing something about it. I think that was, what was it to say? Get the boots moving.
That's right. I was just like connecting people at the end. I was like, oh, you're from Belfast. There's another link company from Belfast.
Yeah.
There's a hotel group. There was 2 hotel groups and I put them together. And it's just incredible for, like-minded people to come together and share and learn and grow together. It's an incredible thing.
Absolutely.
It really is.
And that sharing of problems and sharing of solutions, you might realise that there's somebody around the corner in an industrial estate that's actually doing lean as well, or so being able to find that connectivity that can support you on your journey. So in some companies it can be maybe a lonely job where you're the only person maybe doing the lean and continuous improvement and you want to figure things out. So being able to get that support locally, just around the corner from you, or national, whatever, can be incredible. And it's kind of interesting. One of the lean networks we have down in the south is the Midwest Lean Network. One of the founders was Claude Costello from Zimmer, and he was over on a site visit here to see world class, to reinforce the work that they were doing there. And he went back to the Midwest, he was kind of going, do you know what? We mightn't have a Toyota in the Midwest, but we've got this company here, we've got this company here with us, and between us all, we have world class. And that, he says, so we have it here, and we can learn from each other here as well. And ultimately, what he wanted was he wanted to develop the Midwest so that his daughter wouldn't have to go away to get a job. That there would be excellence, and there would be, world class companies locally as well. So yeah, that was his sense of it as well.
I think you find, I don't know if you find, it's almost like a circular economy as well. So, for example, we had a couple of guys over from Invest Northern Ireland, and then as a result of that, you invited myself and Simon Rowley and Alan Weir to come over, and then we come over, and then we meet Maria Curran, who works for Mega. Yeah. And as a result of that, she's bringing some management team here in the middle of May. So kind of just these little things, it all kind of connections. And you're right, you've got the ability to be able to say, Belfast, and bring people together. I think that's really important to be able to do that, to kind of continue this situation to grow. Phil, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Welsh Government and Toyota's relationship. How did that start? And I think there's some good news we can announce now. We've just signed up for another 3 years with Toyota to carry on the government programme. Do you want to share a little bit more information on that?
So, yes, I'd love to. About 2018 was our sort of watershed moment when we realised that we were looking at the outputs we were getting, and we compared the outputs and the results to what we saw on the business.
Was this within the Welsh Government outputs?
In the Welsh Government. We looked at the Lean Business, website, and we saw many case studies written up there. And I was thinking, why aren't we getting these? Right, yeah. So in 2018, we added to the 1.5 days on site. We supported companies 50% of the funding and offered them 2 days on top of that, where Toyota coaches would go and visit the companies. Right. We had limited success with that. Yeah. And it was at that time when Richard Keegan with Enterprise Ireland actually shared me the model with Lean Start, Lean Plus, Lean Transform. And certainly about that time the light came on, and that's what we had to do. We had to engage with companies for at least 6 months to get the results. Okay. So it was 2020, just when COVID hit us. That was when we started to launch out the programme, copying. We were really based on the Enterprise Ireland model of having this Lean Start, 6 months engagement, 3 days spent at Deeside, Toyota Deeside, and 5 days where the same Toyota coaches delivering those 3 days would go to the client site and work with them, and that would culminate with a project being presented. Yeah. And we had some fantastic results, but incredible productivity increases. Some people saved money, some people made more profit. recently we've had a company who've saved 8 weeks of production time in a year. So it's difficult to actually put a pound sign on what that means. It depends on how they fill that 8 weeks. But fantastic savings. So since 2000, we've now got over 50 case studies on the Business Wales website. We've got another 10 to go on there this month. And as you said, we've just launched a new 3-year program with Toyota. It's the Toyota Lean Clusters Wales program. We've got more budget. We've actually taken some good advice from companies and organisations on how we can make it even better, which we've integrated now into the new model. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to see what results come through. It's one of the balances though is we've only got so much resource at Toyota. So do we concentrate on having new companies who could fill a course, or do we concentrate on those organisations who've already been with you and had 6 months of support and keep the momentum going? And that's one of the challenges now. It's the balance of new companies and existing companies who've had the support from Toyota. But we've got to keep the momentum going now, whatever we do, and actually stretch Toyota to give us more support and reach out more companies.
And I think, I don't know if we all agree, I'm pretty sure we would, but Lean, it obviously develops business, but just as importantly, or more importantly, in my opinion, it develops people as well. It gives people new skills. So I agree, I've been lucky enough to be part of 2 cohorts with the Welsh Government, and you see people grow so much.
Yes.
And I think that's really important, because we say at Toyota, and I know we've spoken a couple of times, that we can have the best tool system in the world, best manufacturing systems or non-manufacturing systems, depending on your business. But if you've not got the people to drive that, it's going to be built on quicksand. So the development of people is more or just as important in Lean than kind of using the tools.
Yeah. I suppose one of the challenges, particularly for Northern Ireland, is productivity. And that's a whole productivity challenge. And for decades, Northern Ireland was always...
somebody said back at your conference, your
absolutely,
score's quite low, isn't it?
If you look at the UK, of the 12 regions, we're 10th out of 12th according to the last year's scorecard. But at the conference, what they were sitting saying, in terms of that 13% gap to the UK average, well, a third of that could be closed by improved leadership and management practices. And that's continuous improvement.
If it weren't for seeing matters, you'd be 12.
Yes. But that's all about continuous improvement, getting your people engaged to improve the business, to make the work easier, better, faster, cheaper. And that's the way we'll turn that dial. So that's very much our focus as well.
Absolutely. And you're familiar with my vision of making Ireland the next Japan.
Absolutely.
Ireland North and South.
Yeah.
And it will happen. It's very,
I think
very
that's
possible.
part of the issue we've always had, Ryan, in Northern Ireland, probably in Ireland, is we like hiding our light under a bushel. But we don't like going out and shouting from the rooftops. But if you go into Northern Ireland, as Ryan was saying at that launch last week, there's a raft of good practice lean companies north and south as well. You don't need to fly out to Japan, Germany, America. You come to Belfast, go to Lean Nevada, go to Enniskillen, go to Cookstown. There's a raft of companies you can go and visit and learn.
Ireland has the most Shingo awardees per capita than anywhere else in the world. So when we look globally, the Shingo Prize might be seen as the Nobel Prize. There's more in Ireland per capita than anywhere else in the world. So there's incredible excellence, all right. A lot of those, though, are foreign direct investments. So the trick for us is, can we get spillover from that? Can we get an Irish company? Maybe it's going to be McColgan's, maybe it'll be Tierney, maybe it'll be, we'll see who it might be. And that's one, but it raises the most hope for everybody. But, and then to your point as well, people are just fundamental to it. And developing the people, building that capability, it'll help the company, but actually nationally across the country. Suddenly we've built this capability up across the country. So you built up people in Seating Matters, and now that's spill over to other companies as well. So now all of a sudden there's lots of people that have a bit of experience around lean, and maybe academic, there's a lot of academic institutions down providing lean courses and supporting them on their development. So all of a sudden, we're raising up and it will spill over.
The real
to
challenge, it's leadership. The tools and techniques, that's the easy. That's the easy, but it's getting your leaders engaged, motivated, and being able to sustain it. That's the real challenge.
And I think there's a really important point there, because we engage with quite a lot of companies, and particularly more for the SMEs, more than kind of the blue chip companies, in terms of budgeting and being able to, because not everyone's a born leader. So I've been to quite a few SMEs where their promotion will come from people who are enthusiastic and they're always there and they're motivated, they're good at Kaizen and they kind of toe the company line. But then if you put them in front of 6 or 7 people to lead them, not everybody's got that skill. I think it's really important that we identify that and kind of build something in to be able to give them that skill. Because not only are you letting that one person down, you're not setting that one person up to succeed to lead 6 people. Them 6 people aren't going to get a stronger leader as if we invested that little bit of time into training the leaders. I think that's really important.
But that's the beauty of some of the tools and techniques, because now here's routines for you to practice to be able to get be a better leader. You know.
And I do think actually, like, sometimes tools and techniques get derided a little bit, like, you know, it's not just on it, but I see them as cultural enablers. It's no more than your meetings. It's not actually about the meeting. It's about the cultural engagement. It's about the communications, reinforcing the ideas. So same with the 5S and respect and standards. So I think all of these things are, I think support the cultural transformation of the organisation and the people within it. And absolutely to the point, like John, we have seen projects taken on in Lean, like, you know, but sustaining it needs the initial urge from the support from the leadership. Unless they're fully committed to it and persist with it, it won't sustain. And then you need all the people on board with you on that as well.
Maybe start with you, John, and work our way back in a few lines. How can somebody reach out to Invest NI? And what's the next steps?
Well, the next step, if any companies in Northern Ireland contact, if you have a client executive, contact client executive, can then raise the query. If you go on to investni.com, there's a contact us site, and if you're interested in Lean operational excellence, we have a general email address. So it's opexquery@investni.com. If you even send that into there, we will be able to pick that up. And again, there's a wide range of financial and advisory support, and we can tailor it to meet individual needs. Yeah.
In the Welsh Government, we've got a mailbox, tlmp@gov.wales. That stands for Toyota Lean Management Programme. If you can't remember that, then if you just Google Business Wales Toyota Lean, then we've got quite a lot of information on the website. And again, it's got the same mailbox address on there, tlmp@gov.wales.
So with Enterprise Ireland, our model is that we have what are called client advisors that have a portfolio of companies generally in a sector. So those client advisors, like, you know, if you're Enterprise Ireland, reach out to your client advisor, like, and say you want to be more productive, more competitive, and we want to do Lean. So they're the main focus point, but you can also get in touch with myself and my colleagues in the team. And I would also shout out for our other sister agencies in the Republic, the local enterprise offices, the LEOs they're called. They work with the micro enterprises, less than 10 people, some small companies that would be domestically focused. And, you know, so it's not just, we've always seen, it's not just for big companies, Lean. You could be a one-person operation and Lean is going to benefit your business. So the LEOs have a Lean business offer as well. Since 2015, they've done over 3,000 projects, helped over 2,500 companies, been transformation for some of those micro enterprises particularly. The IDA, they deal with the foreign direct investment companies. They also have they have a Lean offer, they have a digital offer, they have a green offer, like, you know, to supporting your general operational excellence. And Udaros and Gaeltacht, that we mentioned them earlier on as well, that they work in the Gaeltacht areas. So they have a Lean offering as well. So reach out to your local enterprise support agency, and there's Lean offers and digital offers and capital offers. Lots there support you on your.
Yeah. Very good.
And does this represent an opportunity? I'm just thinking, here's Enterprise Ireland, the Welsh Government, Invest Northern Ireland, we'll have Toyota, for instance, on the side, and then Lean Made Simple. Is there something we can come together with in terms of networking, collaboration, but between, you know, there's 3 different sort of nations and a couple of different companies. We could pull something together for some of our companies.
There's a model out there, like, you know, that the collaboration between business, state, and academia. supports the development of a knowledge society. So it's a broader thing. It becomes community and whatever. So these collaborations and interactions, like, there's a lot of great academic work being done, as we'll hear as well, like, the research into it. So it's great to support our lean ideas. We have anecdotes all around the place. We're supporting with robust information, like, and data is fantastic. So there's a lot of trainings that can be done through academia, the state agency support, but the leaders have to be the business. It has to come from the business, taking it and leading it, and collaborating together. We can,
Yep. So this podcast is going out on the Lean Made Simple channel, and it's going to go out to hundreds and thousands of people. So I think on behalf of myself and Paul, we'd like to thank you for everything you're doing to spread the message of lean. I hear all three of your names coming up in conversations all the time. So the work that you're doing is incredible, and it's impacting people and making their lives and jobs easier. It really is.